Hello everyone, this is Doublebit's Workshop. Got a nice little unboxing here. So we've had the 3D printers hard at work and it ended up needing to have another one in the lineup. So we have purchased the Anycubic Vyper. So this is a kind of last year's model, but still a solid and wonderful machine from everything we've been able to see about it. So we're going to do an unboxing of it, assembly, and then we'll kind of get going on at least the first test print for this video. So stay tuned. Alrighty, first cut. Greeted with some plastic. It looks like foam. Looks like I got the top. Got a little foam here. It's got some little peekaboo spots in it. Alright, so we got the spool holder. Got our power cable here. Alright, and then we got a little fun bag here. Looks like we have a plastic scraper. We have a USB cable. On the other side I can see a SD card, some assembly screws. We've got ourselves a thumb drive. Actually open this up a little bit. So yeah, an unmarked SD card. Some assembly screws. Some basic PLA 10 meters of white. Which of course I'm guessing is Anycubic brand. A quality inspection little guy there. A singular zip tie. There is a travel drive, another zip tie, and another one, main cable, and the scraper. Now we're greeted with the assembly instructions, which I actually have not watched any videos on this at all, so we're going to be going off of normal manual setup there. Alright, here we have the display, which looks like it has a port for a micro SD. Interesting. We'll have to see on the side of the printer if it actually has a normal SD setup if we were to use their SD card. Alright, going in a little deeper here. There's a cut spot. Is there anything in this? Oh, okay. Alright, now we're greeted with the gantry here. Nice. So that was one of the other things I really liked about this printer, is that everything seems to be mostly assembled, so there's not a whole erector set to put together here. They have some nice quality zip ties, it looks like, holding the gantry in place, as well as the head so that nothing moves in transit. Nothing looks damaged or loose, which is awesome. I'll kind of go through and check that out here in a second. Alright, more foam. Very nicely packaged. Looks like everything's taken out of that piece. Ah. Some nice spring steel. You have a smooth side, and then you have the texturing on top for the build plate. It looks like we have just the base left. That is perfectly cut. Alright. Alright, there's the normal SD slot on there. You even have a little drawer that comes with some tools. This is one of the things I was kind of excited to have just already on the unit, so we're not having to find a spot for these. So you have your little micro cutters. Some nozzle cleaning little needle there. They give you 2 different wrenches with 3 sizes on it. And some nice little Allen keys. Everything's kind of fitted and ready to be set in. Foam is a little ruffled on this one, but that's alright. It'll kind of relax probably. Alright. So looking at the bottom of the base, we have some more chunks of foam kind of helping secure everything in. Gently pull those away. So on this printer, one of the things I was interested in most is, I don't know if you can see in there, but on the very bottom of the actual base plate here, there is no adjustment. So everything should be mounted solid, make the printer nice and flat, and then you're off to the races. So that is nice. You can tighten the belts as they get loose, but beyond that, everything should be solid and technically need next to no adjustment down the road. And then it can auto level and bed mesh and modify as needed, which is an awesome feature. So looking at the construction of everything on here, it's very solid and stout. Everything's nice. And glancing at the bottom here, we have 2 separate fans. Looks like this is the power supply fan, and then they actually have a fan over the motherboard, which is nice. So that'll help with ventilation there. You have rubber feet to kind of give some elevation. I wouldn't advise putting this on carpet or anything. As you can see with their setup, we won't be doing that at all, but just an advisory. It already has installed on it the cable for the stress management here, which is just a little piece of plastic that kind of helps manage that. So that is one thing that I'm not necessarily going to have to need. Alright, so we have some cables for the gantry and tape holding them off to the sides there. And then we have our main tower here. So let's kind of look at the instructions real quick. Alright, so this little pack here looks like these are the main bolts for the gantry itself, which is pretty much the entire kit. So we have 4 bolts, and then it looks like we've got 3 little ones, which I'm guessing is for the display. This is super simple and straightforward on it. Alright, so roll that back, put it on the side, and I guess we can start assembling. We'll actually use the supplied Allen keys, just because. Because not everyone, when they purchase these, are going to have Allen keys just at the ready. So if we're to go at this like a brand new user who's never purchased a 3D printer before, we want to make sure that we're able to actually assemble this 100% without any issues. there's actually a nice notch for this to sit and rest in. When I was assembling my longer, the rails didn't actually have any kind of notching, so you had to kind of guess and fumble a little bit to get them to line up properly. So kind of get them in loose. Washer pop off there. Majority of the assembly is pretty much done on that part. So now we're going to be mounting on the display part here. So it takes the two smaller screws into the front. And then the one longer bolt goes on top. So 3 bolts in total for the display. Alright, so for the majority of assembly, for the hard parts at least, everything's pretty much on there. The only thing is looking like the filament. Alrighty. So giving a glance here, it looks like we need to cut some zip ties. Luckily, I have these cutters, otherwise there are cutters on the inside as well. These are just a little more accessible. When you're cutting the zip ties, just make sure for any wiring around here that you're not getting close to where the wires are at when you make your cuts. And make sure not to plug everything in before you make your cuts, otherwise if the unit tries to move with the zip ties still attached, it could be pretty catastrophic. Alrighty, so as it stands right now, doesn't look like we have anything else holding it back. So it advises, and it is also just good common knowledge in the manual to make sure that the unit when you are putting the cable on, you do not route it over. You want to make sure you route it under when you attach everything up. Well, that's pretty neat. Not only does the ribbon cable pop in, but you have two latches that click on the top part of it to make sure that everything is nice, tight, and secure. It says that the supplied zip ties are to attach so a zip tie goes through a bracket in the back. And back through it again, and attaches the ribbon cable so that there's no potential chance of a jerk that will then pop it out. Use your little cutters here to get that excess off. Alright, so the supplied PTFE tube to be put into the extruder motor now. This is a dual gear extruder motor. This I've actually looked into a little bit. You can upgrade a lot of different other units using the same head. It's a very good design. Works with a lot of different types of material and supposedly is good enough to run TPU, which I'm curious to try here in the near future. It's going to lower the gantry down a little bit so it makes it a little easier. The next step is to run the PTFE tube alongside the main ribbon connector and to zip tie it in place so that it has no chance to sag down into any of the work that you are printing. Leave that on there like a guide. You don't want to go too tight and potentially damage any of the cables. You just want it snug, but you don't want it choking it to death. Alright, it says to use the third zip tie in the back portion to help kind of keep the PTFE tube and the wiring connected. Same kind of thing, not too tight, just enough to help guide. Alright, so the main part for the gantry is done. Everything else is already wired for it. So you have power and everything running where it needs to off the main board for the main motor assembly on the gantry itself. Now the two motors on the side, looks like there are some more zip ties underneath holding the wheels in place. Alright, so it's just one large zip tie in the bottom. Everything looks good and connected on that end. Alright. Alright, so the unmarked cable is for the display. On the other two we have ZR, so this will be the right side of your gantry. We have a limit switch, and then we also have the motor. Then on the other side, there's a little piece of tape we'll remove and do the same thing. Only on this side, we'll have only two wires, one going to the limit switch and one going to the left Z-axis. You want to make sure you check those labels, make sure nothing had been swapped in transit or anything like that. Alrighty. Checking through everything, make sure all your connections are good and tight and that nothing has come loose in transit. Make sure everything looks good. And there it is, pretty much assembled. One thing will be the spool holder. There we are. And there you have it. Fully assembled. All we need is the power cable in it. Then we'll fire it up.
I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my...
Hey everyone, Mrs. Doublebit here because Doublebit is busy and I want to get this video finished off for him so he doesn't have to stress out about it. I am sorry if there's a lot of background noise. There's 2 3D printers going on right now, and I'm also sorry if I'm super awkward because I don't do this kind of thing all the time. So anyways, the time-lapse did cut out because battery issues with the camera and we didn't have any backup, so sorry about that. But here is the final product. This was included in a file on the SD card that came with the machine. There's a couple issues, but we didn't alter anything in the G-code, so that could just be, you know, between PLA and all that. But generally speaking, it turned out really nice. The machine may look a little bit different from the last time you saw it because I've been busy printing quality of life stuff for it. You know, feet to get a little extra airflow, a trash bin for all of the, you know, I would say cutoffs, but that's not the right word. The drips that come off when it's getting ready to print and all that stuff. But we are using a temporary bearing based spool holder right now. I will change that in the future. But for now, that's one we've had for a while, and it's working really good. The stock one's fine, but if you can put bearings on, it's just a little less stress on the motor. Generally speaking, no issues so far. I know it's hard to say that if there is any major issues within 2 days of having it, but so far so good. The main issue has been stringing, which is just, you know, settings based. So anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up, and I hope if you have any comments, questions, concerns, you leave a comment down below. Make sure to like and subscribe because it helps out the channel a lot, and we'll see you next time. Good night, everybody. Okay, I was literally gonna end the video right there, but it's the next day, and as you can see, not everything is as it should be. I'm getting an error code that the hot end is not sensing or something. Number one thing is to check the thermistor, and it's fine. So currently we have a ticket into Anycubic because 3 days old.
I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush.